At the wedding ceremony, Sebastian and I were just about to exchange rings. The moment the spotlight shone on me, I suddenly heard Sebastian's inner thoughts. If it weren't for Isabella's inability to have children, why would I ever marry this woman? Is this for real? I'm calling off this wedding. I turned my head and glanced at my twin sister, Isabella, sitting in the front row below the stage. Though we're twins, we're completely different in both appearance and personality. Perhaps because she's the younger sister, she was born with a fragile constitution. She practically stole all the affection that should have been mine. Isabella was gazing lovingly at Sebastian, who was about to exchange wedding rings with me on stage. Their eyes met. To my surprise, I saw unmistakable love in Sebastian's eyes, something rare for a man who usually kept his emotions well hidden. But when he turned his gaze toward me, his fiancé, his eyes were as cold as if he were looking at a stranger. He urged impatiently. Wasn't it you who shamelessly begged to marry me? What else are you waiting for? Hurry up and get the wedding ceremony over with. As he spoke, Sebastian lifted my hand and reached for the nearby ring, about to slip it onto my finger. Instinctively, I jerked my hand back. In an instant, all eyes were on me. Staring at Sebastian's displeased expression, I heard his thoughts once more. I've already agreed to marry her. What trick is she trying to pull now? I sneered inwardly. My wholehearted devotion. To Sebastian, it had all turned out to be nothing but tricks. I asked myself, in this relationship, I had never wronged anyone. Yet now, this is how it ends. I dropped the bouquet in my hand and uttered word by word, I'm not getting married. As soon as I finished speaking, the banquet hall erupted in uproar. Veronica, what's wrong with you? Sebastian was the first to react. He furrowed his brows and glanced at me, his thin lips pressed tightly. I recognized that expression, it was the precursor to his rage. In the past, I would have apologized to him long ago. But after hearing his inner thoughts, I realized that all my efforts were nothing but self-inflicted humiliation in his eyes. Sebastian, can you not understand what I'm saying? I told you I'm not getting married. Sebastian looked indifferent, showing no trace of panic. Everyone knew I was madly in love with Sebastian. He didn't even believe I would give up such a great opportunity to marry him. Veronica, you better think carefully, if we don't get married today, we're breaking up. Sebastian is only this confident because I liked him. But once I stop liking him, he's nothing to me. I snorted coldly and simply tore off the veil from my hair. Sebastian, I'm done with you. Let's break up. Before I could even react, a figure rushed onto the stage. The next second, my cheek burned with searing pain. Aren't you ashamed enough? Apologize to Sebastian right now. My parents were glaring at me with resentment, as if I weren't their daughter at all, but their sworn enemy. Mom, Dad, please listen to me. I was just about to explain myself when I saw my sister Isabella step forward. She wrapped her arm around my mother's and said softly, Mom, don't blame sister anymore. She didn't mean to embarrass us like this. It's always been like this since I was little. Isabella appears to be making excuses for me, but in reality, she only fuels our parents' anger. Isabella constantly uses this trick to elevate herself. Gradually, in everyone's eyes, I became seen as selfish and cruel. Sure enough, the next second, my mother glared at me with even more resentment. Veronica, apologize to Sebastian right now. Otherwise, get out of this house. I struggled to suppress the sadness in my heart and wanted to defend myself further. But the moment I opened my mouth, I heard my mother's inner thoughts. I should have strangled this child to death when she was little, if I'd known she'd grow up to be so detestable. I widened my eyes in disbelief. My mother had always shown some favoritism, but I had assumed it was because my younger sister's health was so fragile, so Mom gave her more care. But I never imagined my mother actually wanted me dead. I struggled to steady my emotions and replied firmly, I won't apologize. Then get out of this house. From now on, you are no longer our daughter. Such a useless waste, truly a lowlife. My father's gaze filled with disgust fell upon me. Isabella beside me pretended to reach out and pull me. Sister, stop speaking in anger. Mom and Dad only want what's best for you. You should have left this house long ago. I am the only princess in this family. Someone like you was born to be stepped on by me. I looked at Isabella's triumphant gaze. The family I once knew best suddenly began to feel unfamiliar. A cry of despair rose within me. The person I love most doesn't love me, and my closest family wishes me dead. Since everyone despises me, I might as well reject them all. In that case, let's divide the family assets. I deserve my share of the conglomerate. Ridiculous. Your share of the conglomerate? What do you mean, Veronica? I'm the chairman of the company, what right do you have to demand this? My father was the first to jump up. I said unhurriedly. Just by the fact that I joined the company right after graduation, that I led the group from a small business to going public, that I hold 35% of the group's shares. Keep in mind that even my father, the largest shareholder in the group, holds only 30%. Everyone instantly looked incredulous. My father asked in disbelief. How could you have 35% of the shares? I stretched my mouth wide in a mocking smile. Back in the early days when the group faced a crisis, many shares had been sold off, and I knew this had always been a thorn in my father's heart. So all these years, I had been quietly collecting those shares in private, hoping to surprise him on his upcoming birthday. But now, it seems they don't even deserve this gesture from me. Right now, I hold the largest stake in the group. If you want to kick me out of the family, I hope you're ready to give up the group too. Their furious expressions instantly turned uncertain as they exchanged glances. I had no interest in hearing their inner thoughts and simply turned to leave. At this moment, Sebastian grabbed my wrist. With a dark expression, he looked at me. Veronica, are you really sure you want to do this? I raised an eyebrow and spoke bluntly. I'll do whatever I want. Who do you think you are? Sebastian didn't expect me, who had always been docile, to snap at him like this, and his face instantly flushed red. Isabella rushed over to stand in front of Sebastian. Sister, you're going too far. If you have any grievances, just say it. Why take it out on brother Sebastian? Sebastian looked at Isabella with affectionate eyes, shielding her behind him once more. Veronica, if you have any grievances, direct them at me. There's no need to harm Isabella. Watching them protect each other like this, I scoffed coldly. Brother Sebastian, Isabella, how affectionate you sound. Anyone who didn't know better would think the two of you are the real couple. As soon as the words were spoken, Sebastian stiffened as if his thoughts had been exposed. Isabella quickly hid behind Sebastian. Big sister, what are you talking about? There's only a sibling bond between me and Sebastian. Why are you slandering us like this? Even if Veronica finds out, it doesn't matter. Sebastian still loves me the most. Sebastian suddenly revealed a determined expression, as if he had thought of something. Veronica, stop being unreasonable. As long as you're willing to apologize to Isabella, I can pretend today's incident never happened. The wedding will proceed as scheduled, and you'll still get to be my wife as you wished. I laughed so hard that tears streamed down my face. Ignoring Sebastian, I walked straight to the stage. Once there, I grabbed the MC's microphone and addressed the guests below. Today, I, Veronica, am calling off my wedding with Sebastian. From now on, Veronica and Sebastian have nothing to do with each other. Ungrateful child. Who gave you permission to say that? My father was the first to react, shouting as he rushed to snatch the microphone from me. I threw the microphone in my hand, and the sound of it hitting the ground was ear-piercing. You're the one who said you wouldn't acknowledge me as your daughter anymore. Now, what right do you have to control me? As for the matter of dividing the family assets, I'll have a specialized lawyer come to discuss it with you in a few days. After saying that, I ignored everyone's expressions and left the banquet hall. Before I even made it home, the farce of today's wedding had already spread throughout City A. Everyone learned that after my engagement with Sebastian fell through, I was also kicked out by my parents. Apart from those who were just here for the drama, many are rolling their eyes and sneering mockingly. Kicked out by her parents and divorced by Sebastian. If I were Veronica, I wouldn't even dare show my face. Everyone knows Veronica chased after Sebastian for over a decade. To end up like this is truly pitiful. What's that saying? A simp who simps till the end loses everything. Ha ha ha, this Veronica really can't compare to her sister. What a disgrace to our circle. I couldn't care less about such idle gossip. After all, the only people who would say these things are good-for-nothing rich kids like my sister Isabella. Only they would think a woman's worth lies solely in her family background and marriage prospects. After returning to the company, I immediately convened a board meeting and announced my identity as the largest shareholder. The largest shareholder can directly dismiss the company's current chairman. Without hesitation, I removed my father from his position as chairman during the board meeting. Nearly all the shareholders present voted in favor, as they didn't really care who the chairman of the group was. Their only concern was the year-end dividends. Compared to my father, who only visited the company twice a year, it was clear that I, as chairman, could earn their trust more effectively. When the notice of dismissal as chairman reached my father, rumors spread once again among the circle. The previous scorn and sarcasm gradually faded, replaced by flattery and sycophancy. Sitting in the chairman's office, I received a call from my dad. "Veronica, you ungrateful wretch. What right do you have to remove me from my position?" I replied in a calm tone. "The majority shareholder has the authority to dismiss company decisions and personnel transfers at any time. That's a rule you set yourself, have you forgotten?" My dad was speechless for a moment. "Veronica, we're family. Your mom and I might have spoken hastily, but if you have any grievances, just say them. Let's sit down and work things out properly. Why let it come to this?" I sneered inwardly. Clearly, brute force hadn't worked, so now he was playing the family card. "Dad, you made it very clear back then that you were kicking me out of the house. How could I dare to disobey you? As for the details of the division, I'll thoroughly calculate it for you on your birthday. Veronica, you ungrateful wretch. I should have strangled you at birth. You." I didn't give him time to continue cursing me and hung up immediately. At the same time, doubts began to arise in my heart. We're both daughters, so why have my parents always favored Isabella over me since childhood, turning a blind eye to me? Is it really just because Isabella is in poor health? Suspicion arose in my heart. I quickly sought out a private investigator I knew to privately uncover the truth for me. After finishing work, just as I was about to head home, I saw Sebastian and Isabella push open the door and walk into my office. Behind them, my secretary hurriedly followed, nervously apologizing to me. "President, I'm truly sorry. These two insisted on coming in, and I couldn't stop them at all." I waved my hand dismissively. "It's fine, I forgot to inform everyone. From now on, these two and the dog are not allowed in our company." Sebastian, a proud golden boy, had never faced such humiliation before. His face instantly turned shades of green and purple. "Veronica, what do you mean by this?" "What do I mean? Can't you even understand plain words?" I replied calmly. Just as Sebastian was about to lose his temper, Isabella at his side reached out and took his arm. Elder sister must still have resentment in her heart to say such things. "Brother Sebastian, please don't be angry." Her face showed an expression of barely contained sadness while still trying to persuade, which made Sebastian feel nothing but pity for her. "Isabella, you're just too kind-hearted, which is why you get bullied by people like Veronica." Isabella suddenly threw herself into Sebastian's arms. "But, after all, she is my elder sister." Watching the two of them put on such an affected act, I felt so disgusted I rolled my eyes. "If you're sick, go get treated. Don't put on a show here for me." Sebastian looked at me with disdain. "Veronica, you're still as vicious as ever. You're not even worth one of Isabella's fingers." "Vicious?" After all the years of knowing each other and giving my all, this is the kind of evaluation I get from Sebastian. Well, I might as well have fed my sincerity to a dog. Veronica, if you know what's good for you, you'll give your dad the chairman position back immediately, then leave the group and never show your face in front of Isabella again. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. Sebastian shielded Isabella behind him, his cautious posture as if protecting a precious treasure. Sebastian, you'd better understand this clearly, I am now the chairman of the group. All future collaborations between my group and your family must be approved by me. What right do you have to make demands of me? The Sebastian family may have appeared prosperous in recent years, but internally, they were far from their former glory. And this collaboration between the Sebastian family and my group might be their only chance to turn things around. Therefore, he absolutely cannot afford to lose it. Isabella saw that Sebastian was blocked by me, and her gaze at me was filled with venom and resentment. Brother Sebastian, there's no need to be angry for my sake. As your younger sister, whatever resentment my elder sister has for me is something I should bear. Isabella, you've been wronged. Sebastian's eyes softened with pity as he looked at Isabella once again. Isabella has been so good to me, even risking her life to save me in the past. Yet now, I can't even protect her. I'm truly useless. I watched with cold eyes as the two put on their clumsy and disgusting act. Seeing that I showed no sign of relenting, they could only slink away in defeat. After the two left, I frowned deeply. When did Isabella ever save Sebastian? In my memory, Sebastian only had one accident. At that time, our families hadn't even met yet. By sheer coincidence, Sebastian and I were kidnapped together. During our escape, Sebastian was nearly unconscious, and it took me tremendous effort to carry him to safety. Because of this, my family and Sebastian's family established an extremely solid partnership. It was clearly me who risked my life to save Sebastian at the time, but in Sebastian's memory, it became Isabella. After thinking for a while, I understood. It must have been my parents who took advantage of my unconsciousness to lie deliberately, all so that their precious daughter Isabella could earn the gratitude of Sebastian's family. Initially, I was puzzled. What exactly did Sebastian see in Isabella when she fell short of me in every way? Now, I have the answer to that. I can barely wait to see Sebastian's reaction when he finds out that Isabella wasn't the one who saved his life, and that I, the person he has despised and mistreated for years, am actually his true savior. The day before my father's birthday, I received the investigation report from the private detective. Miss Veronica, the materials you requested have been sent to your phone. I have a gut feeling that the reason for their favoritism might be because I'm not their biological daughter at all. Yet when I opened the investigation report, it clearly showed that I am indeed my parents' biological child. Just as I was puzzled, I was stunned after seeing the next report. The report clearly stated that Isabella and my parents had absolutely no blood relation. In other words, Isabella and I are not twins at all, there isn't the slightest blood connection between us. The following documents provide detailed accounts that Isabella is my father's daughter from his first love. After his first love passed away from a difficult childbirth, my father considered bringing Isabella home. However, fearing that my mother might treat Isabella poorly because she was the daughter of his first love, he seized the opportunity to switch my identity with Isabella's. But what my father never knew was that his first love had been cheating on him long before, and Isabella wasn't his daughter at all. The reason Mom dislikes me and even wishes for my death is that she's always believed I'm the daughter of the other woman, while Isabella is her biological child. What a ridiculous joke. Since my father's birthday is approaching, I've decided to give him a big gift. On the day of his birthday, I returned home. But when I got out of the car, I found the house completely empty. The driver casually asked a servant and only then discovered that everyone had rushed to the hospital because Isabella had suddenly fainted. Wuzhou Hospital. I looked at the hospital's name and felt as if even fate was on my side. I immediately had the driver take me to the hospital. This hospital was not only where I was born but also where I was treated after surviving a kidnapping. This hospital holds countless pieces of evidence. When I arrived, Sebastian and my parents happened to be out. Only Isabella was sitting on the hospital bed in the ward. Isabella looked surprised when I walked in but soon put on a smile. Sister, it's all my fault for suddenly falling ill. That's why Mom and Dad have been focused on me and haven't had time for you. I rolled my eyes. Isabella, there's no one else here. Aren't you tired of putting on this act? Isabella's smile froze for a moment, and then I heard her inner thought. I bet my sister is just jealous of me. But who can blame her when she falls short in every way compared to me? Hearing Isabella's inner monologue, I couldn't help but laugh. My little sister is even more foolish than I imagined. She has no idea that the things she takes such pride in mean nothing to me. Isabella, you're pitiable. It seems like my words stepped on Isabella's tail, as she instantly shrieked loudly. How am I pitiful? The clearly pitiful one is you. Even the boyfriend you like prefers me, you're the unloved, unwanted pathetic creature. I remained unmoved by Isabella's hysterical appearance. Yet my indifferent attitude only enraged her further. Unable to vent her frustration, she began smashing things in the hospital room. Just then, my parents and Sebastian finally arrived, late as usual. The moment they entered, all three immediately shielded Isabella behind them. My mother shielded Isabella behind her as if protecting a baby chick, then immediately started berating me without even asking for an explanation. Veronica, what on earth are you trying to do? How can you be so cruel? Your sister is already hospitalized, and you still come to hurt her. Veronica really is born evil. My mother's inner thoughts finally extinguished the last glimmer of hope I held for maternal love. Ignoring them, I simply pulled out the first document in my hand. It listed all the assets our family owned. 2 of the street's shops were bought after I joined the group and contributed to its profits, so they're mine. The rest, all purchased after I turned the group's profit situation around, also belong to me. My parents holding the documents grew increasingly grim-faced. Because before I joined the group, apart from a few villas, our family owned no valuable assets. Veronica, stop dreaming. No matter what, I'm still your father. You'll pay for today's arrogance. Suddenly, my father laughed while holding the documents. I've already negotiated with the minority shareholders in the company, and they're all willing to sell their shares to me. Once I acquire their 6% stake, I'll become the chairman of the board again. Let's see how arrogant you can be then. After saying this, my parents looked at me with smug expressions, while Isabella behind them also showed a gleeful look in her eyes. Seeing them acting like clowns, I couldn't help but laugh. My father frowned and asked, "What are you laughing at?" I wiped the tears of laughter from the corners of my eyes and took out the second document, a signed stock acquisition contract. Is this the stock you were referring to, Dad? After reading the contracts clearly, my father, holding the documents, staggered back a few steps unsteadily. How could this be? How did this happen? In the business world, anything not bound by a contract is subject to change. Surely you understand that, Father? At this moment, my father's face had turned deathly pale. Seeing this, my mother rushed forward, trying to pull my hair. Luckily, I dodged quickly and managed to evade her grasp. You little wretch. Truly a child born of a wretch. I should have strangled you when your father brought you home back then. Then you wouldn't have had the chance to harm our family. Sebastian immediately seized on the key point in her words and asked my mother, Auntie, what do you mean? Are you saying Veronica is not your daughter? How could Veronica, such a waste, possibly be my daughter? She's just a bastard, the child of a mistress. If I hadn't been soft-hearted and kept her in the first place, she would have died long ago. And yet, she shows not a shred of gratitude. The looks Sebastian and Isabella cast upon me were filled with loathing. In elite circles, bastards are the most despised. Isabella buried herself in Sebastian's arms, putting on a show as she squeezed out a few crocodile tears. How could it be that my sister isn't even my real sister? No wonder Veronica is inferior to me in every way, she's just the daughter of a mistress. Under the varied and contemptuous gazes of the crowd, I tossed out the final piece of evidence. If I recall correctly, my dear sister Isabella has blood type AB. Though my mother is AB, my father has type O. My mother glared at me with disgust. What are you implying? No amount of talking can hide the filthy blood of a mistress flowing through your veins. My mother was still puzzled, but my father had already figured it out. With trembling hands, he picked up the documents from the floor. After flipping through them, his face turned ashen. Then he stared intensely at Isabella, his face filled with utter disbelief. How is this possible? I'm blood type O, and Lillian is also O. How could our daughter possibly be AB? Hearing my father's words, my mother finally understood. Lillian? That first love of yours, Lillian. My mother instantly flew into a rage, flailing her arms and pouncing at my father. What do you mean by that? Explain yourself clearly. But my father shoved her aside and quickly strode over to Isabella, slapping her across the face. You wretched bastard. You and your mother are both vile. I've been raising another man's child all these years. Seeing this scene, my mother understood everything, but she didn't dare to think about it, let alone admit it. Because the harsh words she had just spewed at her own daughter might still be lingering in the room. Isabella, who had been pampered since childhood, had never experienced such treatment before. Tears welled up in her eyes instantly. Dad, what's wrong? Why did you hit me? At this moment, her father was furious and showed none of his usual tenderness toward Isabella. Why are you crying? You're just as cheap as your birth mother. You're not my daughter, pack your things and get out of this house right now. Upon hearing this, Isabella's body instantly stiffened. She never expected that the tables would suddenly turn after she had just mocked me as the daughter of a mistress. She is not only the daughter of a mistress now, but not even my father's child. She doesn't even know whose bastard she is. She looked at her mother with hope in her eyes. Mom, how could this be? I am clearly your daughter, I am clearly your child. Mom, please tell Dad quickly. Mom kept her eyes tightly shut, refusing to look at her. Seizing the moment, I handed out the prepared documents to everyone. These included the paternity test results between me and Isabella, as well as evidence of my father's past romantic escapades. I apologize for investigating some private matters about Dad in advance. If you doubt the authenticity of these documents, you're welcome to conduct another paternity test. After all, we're already at the hospital. My words cut through the room like a knife. Mom finally looked up at me, her hand trembling as she reached to touch my face. Veronica. I tilted my face slightly and dodged effortlessly. Seeing my reaction, my mother's hand froze midair, her face filled with regret and guilt. I smirked mockingly. Now I no longer need your love. Thank you for teaching me independence and strength. My mother turned pale upon hearing this, her body swaying unsteadily. Isabella, realizing she wouldn't get the comfort she wanted from my parents, immediately turned to look at Sebastian. Like clutching at a lifeline, she threw herself into his arms. I'm so sad, Sebastian brother, I've lost my father, and I don't have a mother anymore. I'm the child of an affair, you won't look down on me, will you? What does it matter if I'm not their biological child? I still have Sebastian brother. Veronica, you'll never surpass me in this lifetime. After witnessing such a farce, Sebastian's eyes were also filled with astonishment. Yet even so, his movements remained gentle as he cradled Isabella in his arms. Isabella, of course I won't look down on you. On the day you saved me, I vowed that I'd only ever be good to you for the rest of my life. Isabella felt a surge of emotion. Thank you, big brother Sebastian. I want to be your wife forever. Unfortunately, as soon as she finished speaking, my mother rushed over and slapped Isabella. You shameless thing, it was clearly my own daughter Veronica who saved Sebastian. I only let you say those things before because I thought you were my daughter. Did you really take it seriously? Sebastian's body froze. A flicker of panic crossed Isabella's face. Isabella, what do you mean? Wasn't it you who saved me when we were both kidnapped? Brother Sebastian, of course it was me. How could I forget? You must believe me. Sebastian's face showed hesitation. You say you saved me that night? Where's the button I gave you right before I passed out? Isabella immediately grew flustered, pretending to search through her pockets. I watched everything coldly, slowly taking out that golden button, once my spiritual pillar, now it just disgusts me. I tossed the button at Isabella's feet. Is this what you were looking for? Take it if you like, I don't want such trash anyway. Sebastian froze in place for a moment. Suddenly, as if struck by a thought, he looked up at me. Veronica, it was you that day. I didn't reply, I just smirked coldly. Isabella was just about to reach out and wrap her arms around Sebastian when he coldly pushed her away. Before Isabella could react, Sebastian stormed out of the ward like a madman. After Sebastian left, Isabella fixed me with a venomous glare. I, however, showed no fear as I stepped toward her one deliberate step at a time. Curling my lips into a smirk, I said, Isabella, you're truly pitiful. Her response was a frenzied fit of throwing objects. As I turned to leave the ward, my father suddenly grabbed me. Veronica, it's always been Daddy's fault. Daddy was truly wrong. For the sake of Daddy's birthday today, please forgive me. Dad, over the years, you first cheated, then swapped my identity with that of your illegitimate child. Throughout my upbringing, you constantly ignored me and emotionally abused me. After I became an adult, you even used me as a business tool repeatedly. Tell me, how am I supposed to forgive you? Dad's smile froze on his face. Mom reached out to grab my hand. I glanced at her and raised my hand to avoid her touch once again. Veronica, all these years, it's Mommy who failed you. I was also kept in the dark. I don't expect you to forgive me, but Veronica, please don't disown Mommy, okay? At this moment, several fine lines suddenly seemed to appear on my mother's well-maintained face, making her appear much older and weaker. Mom, this might very well be the last time I call you Mom. Actually, you can see that Isabella doesn't resemble you. The truth is, if you wanted to investigate, it would be easily uncovered. It's a pity you didn't. You simply blamed your failed marriage entirely on me, treating me as a tool to vent your anger. The harm I suffered wasn't just physical, it went far deeper, into my very soul. I don't think I'll ever forgive you in this lifetime. Goodbye. After saying this, I walked out of the hospital room without hesitation. Just as I reached the hospital entrance, Sebastian emerged from the shadows. Was it you who saved me back then, Veronica? I'm not hiding it. That's right. Sebastian lowered his head. Veronica, I'm sorry. I don't accept it. With that, I turned to leave. Sebastian immediately grabbed my hand in panic. Veronica, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Veronica. Please give me another chance, okay? Sebastian's eyes were bloodshot, tears streaming down uncontrollably. I had never seen Sebastian in such a disheveled state before. I looked down at Sebastian's hand holding my wrist and gently moved it. Sebastian, you're hurting me. Sebastian instantly let go like a child who'd done wrong, quickly releasing his grip while continuously apologizing. I'm sorry, Veronica, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Watching Sebastian like this, all I felt in my heart was relief. Sebastian, we've known each other for 13 years. I almost married you. You know what? Now I'm so grateful I didn't, because you never deserved my love. Sebastian grabbed me, pleading desperately. Veronica, give me one more chance. Whatever I did wrong, I'll change immediately. Please, just give me one more chance. I shook off Sebastian's hand. Belated affection is cheaper than grass, Sebastian, why bother? I stopped listening to Sebastian's regrets and strode away. After everything was over, I returned to my normal life. I resumed the routine of managing the company from 9 to 5. Under my leadership, the company grew bigger and bigger. My parents often called to ask me to come back, but I ignored every call. I didn't want to see them, and they didn't need my support. The company's share dividends were more than enough for their extravagance. But Sebastian suddenly started playing the sentimental card, persistently sending me flowers every day. However, those flowers never made it into my office, they were tossed into the trash by my assistant. By chance, I spotted Isabella at a cocktail party. At that moment, she was nestled beside a portly middle-aged man, being groped by countless people like an object. Isabella had been raised in the lap of luxury, like a caged canary, utterly devoid of any survival skills. After leaving home, to maintain her former lifestyle, she could only rely on men. But men proved unreliable, forcing her to drift from one to another. I didn't pay much attention. This cocktail party was just an invitation from an acquaintance, and I couldn't turn them down without causing offense. That's the only reason I came. I made a brief appearance at the party with a drink in hand, but soon enough, I was bombarded with endless compliments. Before long, I wanted to leave. Just as I was about to leave, Isabella called out to me. "You must be feeling smug, Veronica. Do you think you've already bested me?" I turned back to look at Isabella. She glared at me with jealousy, her eyes filled with resentment and unwillingness. "Veronica, just you wait, I'll surpass you. Someone like you isn't even worthy of tying my shoes." How could she possibly surpass me? By her skills in bed? I never thought my so-called sister could still be this stupid. Isabella, I'll say it again, you're truly pathetic. I'm not pathetic. Not at all, it's you. It's you who's pathetic, Veronica. I didn't care about Isabella's cursing and walked straight out the door. After all, who would bother with an idiot?